Hello.
Hi, Gina.
Welcome, Dale and Jessica, Christy, Daly. Is that how you pronounce it?
No,
No.
you were correct, Dale. You're correct.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for coming back. Yay. Christy and Jessica, we welcome you to join us. If you'd like to turn your cameras on, that would be great because it's more engaging that way. If not, I understand. To each their own. Eric,
Well,
I'm
lots of
driving the car full
multitasking
of
going
kids.
on.
I know. It's just nice to have that engagement and that participation. Did you already welcome everyone, or did you want to say
Yes,
anything?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You can get right started if you would like.
Yeah.
I was just,
I'll
yep,
start sharing my screen.
yeah. I'm on a different computer, so yep, all right, good.
All right. Okay. Should I go ahead and get started?
I think so.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if you wanted to say anything. Welcome, everyone. So I am uh, Gina Solano, and I work here at SUNY Oneonta. Um, Dale, are you here locally? Are you farther away?
I work in Oneonta. I live in Oxford, so I'm pretty far. But in Oneonta, I can't get out of school in time to make it over. So
No, that's we just kind of moved to the whole online format. It just seems easier.
yeah, our dismissal is usually lingering, so
Oh,
it's
that's fine.
challenging.
Christy and
I don't
Jessica,
think I realized you lived in Oxford.
would Christy and Jessica like to introduce themselves?
I'm sorry, say that again?
I just didn't know if the other two wanted to introduce themselves.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I'm Jessica. I live in Bainbridge and I teach in Oxford. Currently on my way back home from Oxford.
Okay. Eyes on the road. All right. Well, welcome everyone. So today is a really fun topic, and I'm excited because there's more storytelling to it than other weeks maybe that were more like lecture based. So if you have any interest or you really like to get connected or get started, we have some great resources for you, some great advice and some personal experiences. So today's topic is international and global classroom connections. And it's something I'm very passionate about. I love to travel. I want to get around the whole world before I leave this earth. And but thankfully in my job that working in higher ed, I've had lots of different opportunities to travel and to do service when I travel. To conference and to meet people all over the world. And so the more I travel, the more I realize the need for service, for connections, for building relationships and understanding. There's really no way to replace actually being in a new country or making friends with somebody from a different culture. Um, Having that personal one-on-one connection, it changes your life. It's very, very much life-changing. So let's see if we can get this to cooperate today. Okay. All right. Okay, so you know who I am, and I've been here before, and I'll be here next week. So here's today's outline. So we're going to have about 5 main points. Why should teachers even bother to do this, right? We have so much pressure on us. We have just so many responsibilities that, is this something important enough that we need to take on a new initiative? So we'll talk a little bit about why we should even consider doing something like this. Then I'll tell you a little bit about my story and what I've done in the past and then what I'm currently doing. And then some ideas and resources for how to connect nationally to do national projects. Some resources for connecting internationally, if that's more interesting to you and you like to go more in that direction. And then some local programs and resources that are available to us here in our region. So this is a picture of me in 2017. I traveled with the university I was working at the time to Ghana, Africa. And we took a group of education students and a group of respiratory therapy students. And so it was a really neat collaboration. And and I'll tell more about that in a second, but that's me there and this is actually one of the nicer schools in Ghana. But what do you notice from the students? Look at them in their little desks. What do you notice?
They have uniforms.
Yes. Yep. Do you see how there's 3 students crammed to each desk? It's probably only meant for maybe like 2 students. And
Okay.
what do you notice from the books in the back of the room?
Not ideal.
Yeah.
Very well loved.
Yes, not shiny, beautiful textbooks that we're used to seeing, So I'll tell a
It-
little bit more about that in a minute, but I love telling about my experience in Ghana, and I'm just dying to connect with somebody here that wants to take a group back. And that's a little bit different than connecting classrooms digitally. But I've taken high school students and I've traveled with them, but I mean, that's not quite, that's like more like travel abroad kind of stuff, but I've done that as well. And if you have any questions about that, I'm happy to talk about that today too, because um I've taken junior high students and I've taken high school students and traveled to Europe on a couple different occasions, and wonderful, wonderful experiences, like just amazing. So why should we even bother connecting? So from our first presentation in January, we talked about standards and technology standards. Interestingly enough, in the International Society for Technology and Education, that's ISTE, they have a standard for global collaborator. The New York Computer Science and Digital Literacy Standards they have standards under impact of computing about the importance of computing and understanding how technology can be used for equity, access, and influence in a global society. So New York we understand the importance of building global skills. The ISTE standards, the ISTE organization supports it. It's such an important skill to develop with our students, that we don't live in these little tiny bubbles anymore, and that jobs are very much international. They're national. We're using, Zoom, we're using Teams, we're using so many different types of long distance communication. There's more and more jobs that are remote now because businesses do not have to pay for expensive overhead of offices and whatnot. If people basically just need office space, they can work from home and use digital tools like we're using right now to connect nationally and globally. And I've been able to do projects like that as well, working from home and working with people all across the country and the world in that same way. So these are definitely skills that it's really, really important to use. And interestingly enough, communication is so important that people lose their jobs because they don't have those social skills built. And maybe you've heard that before, and so not if you have, but it's a very real fact that if individuals are not able to communicate, to talk, to discuss, to collaborate, a lot of companies don't want to hire those types of people. They can't keep them around, because even though we might be connecting remotely, we still have to build those relationships, and we still have to have those important communication skills. So starting as early as elementary school with pen pal writing, and collaborating on school projects with other schools nationally or internationally is so important. So like I was saying, we live in a global society, and when we connect our classrooms with others, we expose students to new ideas, cultures, and we help them to broaden their perspective about the world. They might come from families and they might not travel a whole lot right now, that they're young, and that doesn't mean though when they become adults that they won't have jobs that travel, or jobs that require them to even communicate from home, like I said, nationally and internationally. So the power to communicate across borders, the ability to collaborate with people of diverse backgrounds is definitely a 21st century skill. I'm sure this is not the first time that you've heard about this. The importance of just learning to connect, learning to communicate, and learning with people all around the world. International peer-to-peer exchanges enable students to do some of the following things. They discover how much they have in common with people who live in other places. They learn to value similarities with and differences from people from different backgrounds, open their minds to the amazing diversity on our planet, learn alternative ways of thinking and new solutions to problems. They come to feel empathy for those who have great challenges, and they develop the compassion that gives them a sense of purpose and calls them to make the world safer and more equitable for all. That's the difference that I'm talking about, is having that personal lived experience of getting to know somebody from a different culture, or traveling to that new culture. You see it and you experience it firsthand or secondhand if you haven't been there, but your friend has. That there's so much need in the world, and there's so much good that we can do, and they can just really, like I said earlier, be life-changing and inspiring experiences. So here's a little bit from my story and my background and some things that I've done. So like I said, in 2017, I traveled with a group to Ghana, Africa. And we had a group of respiratory therapy students and myself in education. So we traveled to both hospitals and schools. And so I really love that because people that work in medicine, nurses and hospital workers, I feel like they have the same mindset and philosophy that educators do. We're very service, we're very caring, we're very much interested in the individual. We don't go to work because we're trying to, like, make the sale, increase our I mean, not that that's bad, but some people, that's why they work, is that, they gotta, make the money. I feel like students in the medical field and students in education have very similar like philosophies. And so it was a great project because we were able to provide support in whichever environment we were at. So this is a different school than the first one with the green walls, or no, actually, I think it's the same school. It's just, it was a 2-story school. This was one of the larger schools in Accra. And it was a wonderful experience. I would go in and they would say, "Oh, Dr. Solano is here. She's now going to teach us." And I'm like, "Oh, I am? Okay." What would you like to learn? and and the students were very respectful. They would stand when they would answer a question. When an adult walked into the room, the whole class stood up and said, "Welcome, Dr. Solano," or whomever. I just was so impressed with the manners, the respect. Like we saw in the earlier picture, school resources were very, very minimal. And so one of the reasons why I was going to the school with the hospital group and everybody else is that we were dropping off school supplies to these various schools. And so this is actually a wealthier school that we're looking at here, with these very tiny desks. They have, decorations on the wall. That's a big deal. Not all the schools that we went to had that. And the students were very receptive, very, very intelligent, very loving students. But it was just amazing just to go in and have to pull out a lesson from the top of my head and say, "Okay, let's learn this." And it was a great privilege for them. This is another school I went to. It was in a 1-room building. And this woman, she's the principal, and because in her village, there really weren't schools, or the schools were they were a long way away, and it was a huge trial to try to get, the transportation was a big issue there. So out of her own money, she started this school, but she didn't really have any resources. So, you see that purple bin there? We probably brought her, I have another picture of it, but maybe like 6 or 8 bins of school supplies. Before we left, there was a teacher in the community that retired, and she just donated everything in her classroom to our group that was going to Ghana. And between the medical supplies and the school supplies, we filled one of those giant like metal containers that they have on the ships. And we sent it over, you know, starting a couple months before we were going to be there. So it would arrive and be waiting for us to go get it out of customs from the dock when we were there, which was a whole nother issue, but it worked out. So, and she'd never seen some of these things before. We took things like Lincoln Logs, never seen them, Legos, never seen them. This was a game here and about racing to the bank, I think is a money game, financial literacy game. And so I spent all day pulling things out, showing her puzzles, showing her, I have another picture where there's a scale and how you put the weights in the scale and for math lessons. Just everything. We just spent hours and hours going through things and asking questions, and just showing her how to use this stuff. So and that's the other lady here with the stripes. She was one of the other teachers. So a very small school, just a couple of teachers, but they were so grateful for anything that we brought them. I mean, we had books, we had you know, school supplies, pencils, pens, papers, sanitary thing, you know, gels and whatnot. So it was great. So this is my current project right now. And here on campus, we call it a COIL project. I've never heard of COIL until I came to New York. But it stands for Collaborative Online International Learning. But what we're doing here at the university level can very easily be copied at the K-12 level. So I have a friend who is the principal of this school, Al Dura International School, and I believe it's in Dubai. It is in Dubai. It is in Dubai. I was thinking of Abu Dhabi, but it's in Dubai. And he was my formal doctoral student, so I mentored him as he was finishing his degree, and it was a wonderful experience. And we became very, very good friends, as hopefully in good experiences you do with your dissertation chair. Doesn't always happen though. But he's very talented, very, very dedicated to his students. And he has this gorgeous, look at how beautiful the school is. And look at the colors. And the inside is just as beautiful from the pictures I've seen as the outside. Here's a couple of photos of their students. Again, they're wearing uniforms, you know, very clean, very professional. And that's what I just love about visiting schools in other countries is, you know, you get a really good sense of the respect that they do, or lack of respect, right? But the respect, I haven't had a lack of respect ever, but how much they value education and how much they value teachers. And I feel like, well, why can't America, like, why can't we do this better? You know, why don't we feel more supported by teachers, and why do kids give us so much sass in the classroom, right? So there's a lot to learn from other schools and from visiting other schools. But right now, my project is, the teachers at the school are connecting with my undergraduate pre-service teachers. And so it's a different dynamic. They're not on equal, you know, they're not equal ages or footing. And so I'm really interested to see how they're going to plan a unit, like a 1-week unit of instruction together, and prepare the materials and use different technology tools to do that. But the time difference is about 13 hours. And so last semester, the problem was I used graduate students because they were practicing teachers, and I figured, you know, that's a more equal dynamic. But the teachers had to be in school, right? From, you know, 7 to 3 or 3:30 or 4. And so the morning here is when they could connect there in the afternoon, or vice versa. So it was really hard to set up a time where they could actually meet. I'm hoping with the undergraduate students, since most of them don't have, you know, they're on campus during the day. And so finding a time in the morning, you know, between 9 or 10 o'clock might be a lot more feasible than the graduate students who had to be at their job, right? So I'll tell you more about it, at the end of the semester if you'd like to know, but we're just starting and building those collaborations right now and getting the groups assigned and narrowing down exactly what the project's going to look like. So we'll have some examples at the end of the semester, but because I feel so strongly about international collaboration, it's extra work, as we know, but it's very, very much well worth it. All right. So Aaron and I were speaking before, and he says, connecting nationally, and I agree. Like you don't have to feel like the pressure of, oh, I have to connect with a different continent in order to help students build these 21st century skills of, collaborating and communicating, across long distances. It can be students from Buffalo connecting with students from Long Island. I'm sure there's different cultures there. I'm sure New York is very different in Buffalo than it is, down in Manhattan, for example. Schools are very different. Neighborhoods look very, very different. And so we have lots of state conferences where, you can meet somebody and ask them, hey, you want to set up a collaboration between our schools. The advantage to that is you're in the same time zone, and you have the same state standards. And so there's a lot of similarities there that will be really easy to build a collaborative project together. So other ways is webinars or just connecting with teachers on, workshops like this. And I'm assuming that, we don't all work at the same school, right? But we'd like to set something up. Form a partnership with a college. I'm sure that there would be multiple professors who would love to have their class of college students become pen pals with elementary students or high school students. I mean, how amazing would that be for elementary students to have a pen pal on campus, right, Dr. Levine? Like, wouldn't that just be so fun? So what are you have universities all over the state, and that's one of the benefits of New York is that, a university or a college is not very far away, and sending an email or picking up the phone and calling somebody or meeting somebody on campus, it doesn't have to be a fancy thing, but college professors also many times, like I was saying, we have opportunities to travel sometimes for conferences, or we lead student travel faculty-led trips where we take students abroad. And so many university people have international friends, have national friends in education that they could, for sure would love to set you up and help you, get connected. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a random internet search. There's people in your local community that already have these connections that would be happy to share them with you. All right, so connecting internationally. Okay, so I've put together some resources, and if you would like, I can put the link to this Google slide presentation in the chat if you would like to have them. Nod some heads. Okay, I'll do that real fast right now. Let me just change the permission. And we'll just stick that in the chat. Okay. Okay. And so I have some of these I know, don't judge my tabs. I have a lot. But some of these tabs I have already open, so I want to show them to you. But there are, just going on the internet and typing in like international pen pals, international connections, there's multiple websites set up, multiple organizations that are trying to promote this, trying to connect teachers, trying to connect students across the globe. UNICEF has a Voices of Youth program that invites students to share opinions on global issues. So on the topic, for example, of climate change, a 17-year-old climate activist from Dominica shared a photo essay. A teen from Zimbabwe described his climate change activities. And on the topic of racial justice, the Voices of Youth invited students to submit poetry. So we'll go ahead and visit this website. So they're creating projects and they're sharing them across the world. And I think that is just really impressive. So they can record themselves in front of a trifold giving a presentation. They can make multimedia projects. You know, there's just lots and lots of ways to connect through UNICEF and have a global collaboration right there. And so they can upload it and other people can read and participate and enjoy their, you know, their presentation. So Voices of Youth. Okay. iDialogue, to me seemed very, very interesting. So it's an international distance learning website founded by Natalia Bout. She's an educator from Russia and a cultural enthusiast. She offers a variety of authentic student-to-student learning opportunities in English. So far this year, they've already reached more than 7,000 educators and 100,000 students in different locations. So iDialogue, it's been around for 8 years and 150,000 now students and educators, 160 countries, and over 10 international awards. They looked really impressive, just especially where they have all of these companies backing them and press releases about that. So homeschool families, I like this because they have resources for homeschoolers, for families, teachers, educators, and then, you know, I'm not really sure how the company at Angle works, but it's a safe environment. They have virtual field trips. And so there's just a lot of really neat ways that students can connect and build those global collaborations and global friendships. Okay. All right, so next is Go Pangea. This one looked really fun. It's another K-12 platform where students from many different countries interact through virtual messaging or videos and participate in collaborative projects. And so this company has really grown in the last few years. And it's nice because you can join for free, whereas I think that other iDialogue, I'm not really sure if there's a membership or whatnot with that. But this is what I like about this, because teachers, we have these amazing ideas, we have these big hearts, we want to do these amazing projects, but we have no budget, right? And so on here, Go Pangea, it says it's free, no costs or ads, just equal learning opportunities for everyone. They promise safety for posts and comments are moderated for safety and positivity, which is really important because we know social media doesn't have those kind of filters and protections for students. So when we're using them in our classroom, we have to make sure, you know, of safety and appropriateness. And they have a project-based learning approach, which is backed by research. We know how important project-based learning is. So this is really interesting, is that they have daily questions that learners can respond to and comment on every day, and teachers can also assign them. Learners can include up to 6 slides, so they can use their phones, they can create their own media and communicate through pictures and through videos. And they can have these discussions on these shared topics, which I think this is great because a lot of times we think as teachers, we have to make that product. The students have to make the product that they're collaborating on. But this organization, they're creating those discussion materials. They're creating those topics that you can connect to and have them talk about. So the conversation topics are focused and they're purposeful and not just random. And it also takes off a lot of work from us okay, students, we need to create a shared PowerPoint or a shared Google slide presentation, and we're going to make a collaborative website, which you definitely can. But if that's just too much work, this is another way to go, and it's a free resource. So definitely, if you're interested, check out Go Pangea. Let me know. I would love to hear if you were able to connect and use some of these resources in your classroom. The Experiment is another one that seemed really amazing. It's a free online study abroad experience. So they're not actually going there. It's a virtual study abroad, which I thought was a really unique and a really clever take on international connections. So they get matched with a peer from a different country, and then they engage in weekly video calls and activities to simulate an authentic study abroad experience. So this is for more secondary students, grades 6-12. But I think, for those students, those ages, they're starting to learn about the world. They're starting to learn about other cultures. And maybe some of them are getting that travel bug, but their families can't afford to, send them on a study abroad experience, or it's just not, a possibility. They can have one where they're still matched and making that one-on-one personal connection that what you develop when you actually travel there and you make friends with people in that country. So instead of just kind of randomly talking to whomever happens to be online that day, which was on Go Pangea, you're actually building friendships and relationships with real people. So I think that's really actually a really good angle to have. So iDialogue was one that we visited, and this was a quote on the website that I thought was really important, that I really liked. It says, when I log into iDialogue from India and read the posts of students from other countries, I think I better understand their mentality, and that this is a very unusual for me, that iDialogue is another window into another dimension. And so by engaging in conversations with people from around the world, they're seeing the same topic, but with a different perspective and a different lens. And I like how she says it's like a window into another dimension. And so, I mean, you can't really duplicate that in a classroom, right? You can only have these kind of experiences and these aha moments. I'm turning on the light bulb is what I'm doing. Those aha moments when they're connecting with people, in different cultures and in different countries. All right, so here's some programs and resources. The Catskill Teacher Center. So I'm going to give Aaron a few minutes and to talk to us about how he's collaborating with professors and doing some of the COIL. Do you want me to stop sharing, or you can just go ahead and share from there?
I'm on a different computer and I get all mixed up. Yes, I was sharing here. So, okay. Let's see if I can get this right. And so I am working with Dr. Montoya. We've been doing quite a bit of work with the COIL stuff here. Like Gina had said, the COIL really is kind of more for the higher ed folks, but Maria was kind enough to open it up to K-12 teachers as well. So we've been really trying to support that work. If any of you in our region are interested in doing work with COIL, we will help you find a teacher to work with overseas. And we will pay you to be an ambassador to kind of try to get that program started in your school. Right now, I'd have to pass it by the board, but I'm sure I can spend about $200 to get you started. And again, we will do what we can to help set you up. We have good contacts in India. We have 2 people working in India currently, or with teachers in India, and we are starting in Colombia with another teacher. So we hope you will join us for that. And if you're interested, just let me know. Additionally, the next set of programs coming out from Dr. Montoya are these Stories That Unite, and I'm hoping that you can see the screen here. This is a woman that has done the Fulbright Scholarship, so she will be talking about what that was like. And the lunch is included, so if you can get out for the day, we would love that. We know that sometimes lots of our teachers can't get out during the day, which is so unfortunate. I mean, your professional learning is really valuable. But we do have this one. Oh, no, wait, that's right. This was also a part of the same thing. So it is a half day for everybody. But we will help you explore how to find Fulbright scholarships. One of the things I had never realized, I had always thought Fulbrights were for these really highly intelligent people, which I guess they are, but they're really accessible for everyone. And so one of the things that Maria and I wanted to do is to help you to sit down, review some of these scholarships, and just kind of have an opportunity to discuss and share and talk with other people and start that whole process. So we want to support international learning. We think it's really valuable. And so again, we would do what we can. And if that means putting some money behind it, we would do that as well. So thanks, Gina. I think it's really exciting. I love what you have to say.
All right, thank you. All right, so I have let's see, a couple more slides. Oh, we need you to stop sharing, I guess, because you're in control.
Okay, let's see. Oh, that's interesting that, all right. Uh-oh. Can't pull up that toolbar. Uh-oh. Oh, stop sharing. There we go. I think that might do it. Are you able to do it now?
Yeah, just my little bar went away. Okay, here we go. It likes to jump all over, doesn't it? Okay. All right. So a few more ideas to share. So just going on social media, there are lots of different international groups, international education groups, teachers that have set up international connections. And so this link here goes to the International Student Connect page, and it's from Bucharest, which I thought was another country that we haven't talked about today. I mean, we haven't talked about a lot of countries, but and that's another idea. Of course, you need to make sure you get the proper permissions. Every school has different rules about how you can or cannot use social media. But if your class can get that permission to set up a classroom page, that is another really great way that you can foster those international relationships and collaborations. We Are Teachers. This was really neat. And so you might recognize this website. You might have been here before, but they have virtual pen pal programs and resources for connecting kids around the world. And so this was an article that has links pen pal schools. I think they've actually updated their name. ePals, Students of the World, My Language Exchange, which looks interesting, and another pen pal world. So if you want to just get started with pen pals, there's resources available just to do something on that approach. And again, establishing pen pals, you're not having to do a lot of teacher prep, not having to prepare a lot of materials. And you can get them started with making those friendships. Other teachers have created their own classroom blogs or classroom websites, and where they have had their students post materials, had students in the other country post materials, or work on problem-based projects together, solving recycling issues, contamination, pollution, clean water issues, anything like that. And those are really, really interesting. And I've seen a few of those because there's different resources in different countries. And so if the two groups of students get assigned a country that they both have to research, they bring different perspectives and different experiences to solve that problem. So, I mean, those are just really some amazing ideas that you can do. Okay, so what questions do you have about international connections, international collaborations that I can answer? You're like, I have more stories, but that's what I have. So did anyone find this useful or interesting to have some resources? And they're really just amazing experiences. I can talk a little bit about planning student trips, but I don't know if that's more for secondary teachers. And I've done things like that too. All right. Well, that is all that I have for today. If nobody has any questions.
Thank you, Gina. That was great. And if anybody is interested in starting something like this, let me know, because like I said, we do have some teachers that have started this process, and they can help you figure out how to navigate all the different components of it.
Wonderful. All right. Thanks for coming, everyone. I appreciate it.
Great topic, Gina.
Thank
I
you. Yeah,
love
it was a lot of fun. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.